Hello, and welcome to my very basic overview and tutorial on how to use /model /texture /whatever in Blender. It's not going to be very serious because I'm not a very serious person. But I'm going to teach you in this video the very basic overview of what things do in Blender. Or so I hope to. So first off, this is your viewport. This is where all of your work, hopefully, is going to be put. This is the basic cube. You don't need it. We don't need that. We don't need that part right now. But this is basically your viewport. I move around in my viewport by pressing Alt and Shift and left clicking. You can zoom in and out with the scroll wheel. And you can rotate just by pressing Alt. Very simple, very simple. This right here, I don't really know what it's called. Just a gizmo? I don't really know. It basically has your X, Y, and Z axis. It allows you to quickly change perspectives. I always model in the front Y one, which doesn't really have, you know, a little Y on it. But yeah, I always model in this perspective. We're right now in object mode. We can't really go into anything else, but object mode is the basic viewport, of course. This is where, you know, you add in meshes, or curves or whatever. You can't add them in edit mode. This is the overlay. This is X-ray. This will be useful for later. It allows the mesh, whichever mesh you're working with, to be transparent, so that way you may see the reference image behind it. This is viewport shading wireframe. We don't have anything, but if I were to add in a cube, you would see its wireframe. This is the basic viewport. It's the solid view. It's just very basic, nothing crazy. You can change the type of shading in it if it fits your, you know, if it fits what you want, but it's not really important right now. You also have viewport shading material preview, just the basic one, and then you have the rendered one. If your computer isn't very good, I recommend using Eevee instead of Cycles, because Cycles might kill your PC if it's bad, but I wouldn't know. I'm not there. What else? I think that's it for the base overview, but maybe I'm missing some stuff. Well, I guess we should get into, like, the basics of it first off. I suppose we should start with something else really quickly, which is to say, making a reference image. So you will need a art program for this. If you don't have an art program, anything else will really work, but it has to be a PNG. It has to be a PNG, and it doesn't have to be symmetrized or whatever. You could technically just draw one half of the image, and that's all you'd really need to do. But I've seen a couple of 3D modelers do that a couple of times, but not very often. I have not seen a lot of people do that. I have a lot of tabs open for Faztown. Just give me a moment. I'm fucked. It's over. I gotta close all of these. Save. Blah, blah, blah. Get that out of there. Save. Blah, blah, blah. No, don't put it in Faztown folder. Put it in Brutal Bunnies folder. I should have had all of this done beforehand, but I didn't really think I'd be making it, so I don't know. I guess it is my fault. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now I can put it up on the screen. It's probably going to be big, so I'll just do whatever. Studio Paint. There it is. It's very big right now. Let me adjust it, Because I didn't plan for this. Okay, there it is. That's a reference I made for my friend who I was teaching how to make a very simplistic model. Now, let's say that we want to make a model. We just want to make a simple model. I have Clip Studio Paint. There is a little symmetry tool in Clip Studio Paint. There is also one in Paint Tool Sci. There is also one in, I think Fire Alpaca allows for one, but I don't think that I don't think that there is one in just regular, Paint, just the Paint app on your computer. So if you wanted, you could just draw half of the original thing, half of the picture, and then you could just copy that side and then flip it onto the other half. I don't know if you can do that in Paint, but you can do it in every other software. And Fire Alpaca is free to use. So for this, let's make something simplistic. I know you're probably not going to make the exact same thing I am, but let's make something kind of lowish poly. I guess I should call this the fucking lowish poly tutorial, because we're not going to be making something serious. If you want to make something entirely serious, you are not going to make it the first time. That is not going to happen, and I'm sorry. But, with modeling, it's a very, long time going kind of thing. So we're going to just make something simple. Let's make a kitty cat for this. Little kitty cat. Should be simple. It's got a big, stupid looking head. It's a very big kitty cat. Little round kitty cat. Because kitties are kind of, little round guys. Should be very simple. There's no mistakes if you want to draw your own, but if you want to use mine, I guess I will have it linked in some sort of Google Drive, and that will be fine. Not a big deal. We might have to use subdivision for this because I gave it little hands, little mitten hands, and then here it's little paws. Little paws. Doesn't have to be at the front if you don't want it to be, but then we are going to give it little eyes, and then a little mouth, a little thingy below it, little chin. And there's our little kitty cat model, the little neck things. That way you won't have to model a neck, but I will still teach you how because I'm kind of like that. So here's our little kitty cat model. I'm going to name him Joffrey. Maybe Steven. Steven's a good name. We'll name our cat Steven. This is Steven the cat for our tutorial, our low poly-ish tutorial. Now, I model in a way that is kind of tedious. I've been told it is tedious. And if you're not willing to put up with that kind of tedium, then there are a ton of other tutorials, and I wouldn't blame you, and it would be fine. But this is how I do it. Now, I don't have a side reference for Steven because I usually just kind of, I just kind of wing it. I don't really need a side ref, but I will draw it for you guys, even if it won't be completely to the correct scale, but that's okay. We don't need it to be completely correct. We just need it to be good enough. You will find and learn that a lot of what modeling is just making something good enough. It doesn't have to be the best. If somebody tells you that your model has to be high poly, or that it has to be like the most high poly, no triangles, no nothing, they are wrong. They are not correct in their assumption. Your model does not have to be the most clean model ever made. It does not have to be. It just needs to be good enough. So now we're going to say this is Steven the cat. Maybe I should color Steven very quickly. We'll give him a very quick color palette. I want to make him blue. And you can make your Steven whatever color you want. My Steven is specifically blue. I like him. He's blue. I think he's a good cat. Steven showing all layers. There we go. So now I'm just going to quickly color Steven in blue. I'm not making this a serious reference. You can make one for your characters if you would prefer to. That'd be fine. But my tutorial is just about this little freak, Steven. So we're coloring in Steven really. I could just paint tool. I don't know why I'm not paint bucketing him. I'm chopped. And then we're going to make his little accents lighter. Very nice, very nice. Some of the things went out of there, which is weird. But, you know, whatever. We just erase. Fuck it, we ball. Trust the process and whatnot. And then we make his little eyes white. Little white eyes. Little white eyes. There we go. And his collar is just going to be another type of blue, because that would look kind of nice. And his little thingy is going to be a nice orange. Okay. Maybe I should give him a little belly, because it'd be cute. Yeah, a little tum-tum. Little tum-tum. Can I color that in? Oh my god. You guys better appreciate this video. I'm recording it under a hot as fuck, like, blanket, so that way I can have a kind of good, you know, audio. So please appreciate this video. It is very hot. Very too hot today. Do not care for summer. What's your favorite season, you guys? Since I'm drawing this and I got time, what's your favorite season? Comment if you want to. Love to know. I read every comment. If I don't, then I lied. I'm not lying. I do. I read every comment. Okay. So now we have a little colored Steven. And now we can save it as a PNG. Little PNG. And it's going to be called Steven the cat. Cat. There we go. Yes. So now we have Steven the cat. And I'm going to hide that layer. And so basically, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the front view. That one. And we're going to add mesh. Go down to, oh, wait, it's not mesh. Oh, silly me. It's add image reference. And then you're going to go into pictures and you're going to find your Steven the cat. Now Steven is here, as you can very well see. So we need Steven to be in the middle. And as you can see, he's very, like, the image is not at a opacity that we can make it in the middle. So click it. It'll have an outline. Go to this little red thing called data, or data, whatever the hell. And then there will be a thing called opacity. Change it to like 400, 500, one of the two. Now you can freely move Steven and make him as in the middle as you can. Raise him up above the line, go to the side, and move him back. Okay, Steven's here, but his side reference is there, and it's not where it's supposed to be. So we copy, paste, click, go to the Z-axis on top, and you can now rotate it. R-90. And now Steven is in the place where he's supposed to be. Move Steven off to the side. Put him over here, kind of in the middle-ish of our thing. And there. Now we have our two references. Now, the most important thing you are going to learn in this tutorial is how to save your progress. Always save your progress. Steven. Just name it Steven. Whatever. Now that we have saved our progress, we are now going to get on to modeling, in which you are going to learn a lot of things from this. I'm going to throw them at you, so if you have a problem, slow down the video or go back. There is no shame in forgetting something. That is the part of the learning curve. We all want to learn, and we will all learn, and we will. We will, indeed. So first off, there is going to be some things that you probably won't have. You're going to need to go to preferences. And you're going to need to find on the internet, I might link them, I'm probably going to link them because that's what you need. You're going to need extra mesh objects. You're going to need extra mesh objects, and you're going to need loop tools. Loop tools. Loop tools and extra mesh objects. You can find these very easily on the internet, just by searching them up. And then I will need you to download them. And when you download them, you don't unzip them. You just go over to here and do install from disk, and then you just click them. That's all. And then you'll need to check the little check mark, and then it'll appear. That's all I need you to do. And take your time with it. It's no rush, but this is how I model, and I'm teaching you that, so you'll need them. So once you have that, pause the video here if you don't, because I'm moving on to modeling, and I would hate to rush you. But for everybody else, once you have that, you are going to spawn in a round cube. I forgot to mention, I am using Blender 5.1.1. I'm using one of the newest versions of Blender. If you're not, I think the tutorial is still followable because I'm doing everything. I've used Blender for many, many years, three, I think, at least, not really two. Don't know why I said a couple, but I've been using it for 3 years. And I have been able to do this in every single one of Blender's versions 3 years ago as well. So what I need you to do is spawn in a round cube. And I bet you're thinking, well, yeah, it's a round cube. What am I going to do? You're going to click this little, thingy in the bottom left corner. And where it says radius, you're going to get rid of that and put 1. And now you have a circle. Now, I see this on Twitter a lot, where people have their little model, and it looks like that. And that looks fine, but you should right-click and shade smooth. Always shade your things smooth. I know people want it to look like very retro or whatever, but a lot of games in their engines, if that's what you're going for, have shade smooths. They have their own way of shading things smooth. Now, this is way too big. Now we're going to need to scale it, which is the S key, and moving your mouse closer or farther away to shrink it. Now we're just going to use this, which is the scale tool, not the rotate and not the move, just the scale, and we're going to make it kind of like fit more. That's all we're going to do, is we're just adjusting it. Adjust it at your own pace. That's all we want. Nothing crazy. Oh, also to select all the vertices, I forgot to say, you don't need to go into here and then, you don't need to go into X-ray and then select all of them. You can just press A and it will select all of the vertices. I forgot to mention, which is my fault. I'm very forgetful, so this is going to happen an awful lot, where I will just do something and I will forget to say it. If you have any questions, please comment them, because I will answer them. I promise I will answer. Okay, so we have our little kitty cat's face, but some things are still very wrong. Now you're going to want to do proportional editing. Proportional editing is going to look like this. You can shrink it with your middle mouse key. And if you don't have a middle mouse key because you're on a laptop, you can use this one. You click on this little lumpy thing. There's a proportional editing, a proportional size, and you can shrink it just by, moving it along, which is probably going to work for you. You don't need to copy what I'm doing. Oh, wait. I forgot. We need to enable this mesh symmetry. Just for now. If it's not working, we will fix it. Don't worry. Now, I know the reference here is not the most, on model thing, but it's mostly just, for reference, not really for, full, it's not really, going to help us in the long run. I mostly drew it just in case you want it. But I mostly am just going to guesstimate on this. If you don't want to do that, that's fine, but you probably won't be able to get it to look 1-to-1. Now I'm going to introduce you to another tool, loop cuts. Loop cuts are a very important part of modeling. It is Control and R. Control and R. You can add more with the middle scroll wheel. I don't know how to do it if you don't have a middle scroll wheel, which is unfortunate, and I'm sorry, but we're going to add, we're going to add one here, and maybe one about there. There we go. And now we're going to add an eyeball. But we can't do it with X-ray on because it might affect the back of the model, and we don't want it to affect that. So remember where the eyeball is. It's about there, and we are going to go there and delete it. But we don't want to have to delete the other part of the thing. That would be a lot, not that efficient. It wouldn't be as efficient as we want it to be. So instead, what we are going to do first is we're going to go into X-ray mode, go into vertex, which is this one. This is face. This is edge. We're going to go into vertex, select half the model, not the middle part, just half of it, delete it, which you can do by right-clicking all the way down, delete. And then we're going to go to the blue wrench in the corner called modifiers, add modifier, search, mirror. Mine's already there, but you can just type in mirror and it will show up. And now we have a mirror, and we need to enable clipping so that way our model doesn't break apart or whatever. So now we are going to go to where we put the eyes. You know, edge mode. And we're going to go, wait, not edge, it's face. What am I talking about? And then once you have your loop cuts installed, we're going to click this circle, click the edge of it, basically click it, and then shift, double click, and it selects the surrounding area. Then loop tools, circle. And see, you didn't have to make a circle. It's very helpful. It's a very helpful tool. Now we are going to shrink this to be almost the exact size of that. Do what you need to. It's not a big deal. Rotate it to be straight because it's not. You don't really, look crazy. Don't want it to look all weird. And see how these kind of above look kind of off? There's another tool right here on the side, the blue little roundish cube called smooth. And we can just take these and smooth them out. We should also add a loop here, maybe, because it would make it look a little better. Don't add loops everywhere, by the way. I feel like I should preface this. Not the best at, making topology look nice, but... Ooh, what the fuck? That's not normal. That's not good. But just do what you can to make topology look good. We don't want it to be the best because I can't really help you with that, but there are some videos that I will link below that will help with that. There are a lot of like Blender gurus, not the guy named Blender Guru. That guy is an AI shell. We don't really like him. But if you want to use his stuff, go ahead. I can't reasonably stop you. Let's place one right here because maybe it would help. Let's move it out a little. But yeah, you just want your topology to be good. You don't want it to be the best, just good enough. Okay, so now we have our little kitty cat's eye holes. Now I'm going to teach you how to make, not exactly eyes, with eyelids and all that stuff. I'm just going to teach you how to make low poly eyes that go inward. It's a little trick. A lot of things use it. And even if you don't like those things, they still do, like fursuits and all that stuff. So turn off proportional editing. We don't need it right now. And press E to extrude, and then click, then scale inward. And that's his little, the black outside of his eyeball. We're going to push it inward a little. Add a loop for good topology. Scale it again. So you're going to grab this. Oops, nope. Grab that. That's the right one. And you're going to scale, scale, scale. You don't have to follow me exactly, by the way. But I'm just teaching you the tools so that way you can do it yourself. F. F is fill. You want to fill in that little hole there with fill. Okay. Now, this looks kind of weird, right? That looks kind of odd. So what we're going to do is select this little edge, right-click, and mark sharp. You can do it for this one as well, but you gotta click them individually because it's not really working. Mark sharp. And it looks kind of better. Yay! Yay for us. We probably should move this one upward because it's supposed to be the outside. We should probably fix this because it's not really straight as can be. Probably make this into different things, doing different parts of the body, because I'm sure this has taken me almost an hour at best, which isn't very helpful. There we go. That looks pretty all right. And now our little kitty cat Steven has some eyes. Isn't that lovely? So now we are going to focus on a harder part. I'm just going to take the blanket off my head. I mostly put it on because there's cars going by and whatnot. but I am probably going to get heat stroke, so I'm going to stop doing it. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to give little Steven a muzzle, little mouth-ish area. I think it's a muzzle. I believe that's what it's called. So we are going to give him a little muzzle. Now, see how it goes up like that? A lot of vertex modeling is moving the vertex to align with what the model looks like what the reference looks like. Make sure not to grab your the behind ones. You see these. We don't want those because that might mess up the model. So we're going to grab the front ones and we're just going to move them along like that. That's where his little nose ridge would be. There you go. And now we also should do the same for his lower muzzle. Vertex in the front will be a darker black. The ones in the back will be kind of grayish, by the way. If you didn't know, now you know. And I'm going to knife tool this area. I know it will make a triangle, but it's okay. So K is knife tool, and then you just, and then enter. And now you have a little kind of lower muzzle thing. And I know it looks kind of bad, but again, that's why we edit things. We'll never not edit anything. You'll always have to edit things. It is a constant in the Blender making universe. It's just what you have to do. Now, we are going to do the top muzzle first. And we are going to extrude. E to extrude. Now that looks kind of funky. Like, sure, it looks like a muzzle. Oh, we got to get rid of that little edge crease, little mark sharp. There we go. Now it looks kind of funky, but that's okay. We're going to add a loop cut here, and we're going to make it not as blocky. The entire point of modeling like this is so that way things aren't as blocky. Let's bevel it. I know you don't know how to bevel, but it's Control B, and then you move your mouse a little. We can add a little thing here, little loop cut. There we go. I'm going to use proportional editing. And if you just want to watch me and take notes, that is completely fine. It is a completely fine thing to do. No one will be mad at you for just taking notes and then trying to apply it to your own kind of model. That is a completely fine thing to do. I've done it before. Everyone kind of has, I think. They haven't? They are lying. Kind of a liar. But yeah. This is what I do. Now we have a sort of muzzle-ish looking thing. That's great! Now we have to do the lower part of it. First I'm going to... how do I do this? Is it V? Yep, it's V. So you want to separate this from the bottom part. So you're going to go onto this little part. This is his mouth. You're not going to select all of it. You're going to press V, and you're going to go... Oh, well, I guess I must select all of it. And we're going to press V and move it upward. Here we go. And you're going to go to Merge Vertices, which is selecting the two vertices in vert mode. Right-click, Merge, at center. Now, I know we have some triangles, but it's alright. Nothing wrong with that. Now, we're going to extrude again. Extrude the lower one. And we're going to do exactly what we did for the top one. Now, I know it looks very funky, but again, we are going to edit, edit, edit. Always edit. No proportional mode. Always edit things. This is the easiest for me, and if it's not for you, that is completely okay. There is nothing wrong with that. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but that is okay. Learning wouldn't be learning if it was too easy. Everything has to be a little difficult for you to learn. That looks kind of weird, so we're going to move these inward. Oh, I could just, I could merge these, actually. Maybe. Probably looks weird, so I won't do it, but... This needs to go up, 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 up. This needs to go down, down, down. we go. That looks pretty alright. I have a problem with these, but, yeah, that's okay. Shade smooth because it didn't shade it smooth before. Hey, that looks pretty good. But it does have the same issue as before where we need to mark it sharp. Mark sharp. Move this up a little. And then mark it sharp. Mark sharp, 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 sharp. Oh, can't forget this little area. Almost forgot it. And there we go. Our little kitty cat now has a mouth, and that was pretty simple. You will have to make the inside of the mouth, which is a little difficult, but we will do it. We will get to it. Now, this is a pretty good low poly-ish mouth. Pretty good, pretty good. So now we're going to edit this. We're going to add a nose. Now, the nose is going to be pretty easy. We just have to move the mesh around to conform to the face. Not a big deal at all. Very easy. So right there, we're going to go to edge, and we're going to what? Extrude. There we go. And we're going to add another loop cut right there. Scale it a little. And there we go. We have a little nose for a little guy. Isn't that nice? Now we can smell everything. Now we can smell everything around him. The cubic void, I suppose. Good for him. Here we go. That looks pretty good. Pretty all right, if I do say so myself. And if you just want to adjust it, you can. Adjust, adjust, adjust. Nothing wrong with adjusting. It is the most normal thing ever. Something doesn't look right, adjust it. No one will make fun of you, I promise. I won't, at least. Okay. So now, Steven has a mouth, a chin, eyes. He's missing his little ears, isn't he? Now, this part is a little hard for me. I still haven't mastered making ears, but we are going to do our best. Then we're going to work on the little inside of the mouth. Gotta stretch first. Remember to take breaks. Never forget. Most of making these models is just, you know, taking breaks, going back, and if something doesn't look right, that's okay. So we are going to select those and extrude. That looks kind of funky for an ear. I hear you saying. Let's add some loop cuts. And let's try and make it look more like what we see here. That's all we really want to do, is make it look as close as possible. But if it doesn't look as close as possible, again, that's fine. That's our little catchphrase. If it doesn't look good at first, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So we're just going to move these, move this. And I know it looks funky, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with it yet. Move this, move that. Move this kind of outward. Blink. There we go. Ah, but this looks kind of weird. Maybe we should try and smooth it. Kind of funky looking. There we go. Hey, that looks like an ear of some kind. It's not ridiculous. It's not ridiculous. And it got us to where we need to be. A lot of things in Blender can be done by just extruding. You don't really need to do all of that crazy stuff. And if you want to subdivide, you absolutely can, which is underneath the wrench tool and modifiers. But it's not really, you don't really need it all the time. You just need it sometimes. So now our little guy has some ears. He's got a nose, a mouth, and some little eye holes. In which I know they're not really eyes, but they're stylized eyes, little stylized eyeballs. for our little guy named Steven, which is fine. These need to be a little sharper. Edit, edit, edit. That's what I always say. Here we go. Also, I'm no professional. I just feel like I should but I am a professional at saving, which we need to do. Don't forget to save. Do not forget to save. So now that we have saved, I just want to preface, I am no professional at this. But I'm always willing to help people learn some of the basics. I know people go a little too fast, but I try my best. Oh, I don't think that's supposed to be like that. Maybe we should try filling this in. I didn't realize it was gonna be like that as well. La la la. F. Alright, good enough. Okay, so we need this part, this little thing and this little thing, and we need to make an inside of the mouth. So we're going to extrude on the X, no? Is it Y-axis? Y? Yeah, it is. On the Y-axis. Get rid of that sharp, we don't need it. And we're going to just adjust it to be kind of big, I suppose. Because it's the inside of the mouth. And you're going to have to put if you want to put a tongue. I'm not going to put a tongue, because he doesn't really need it. This face is actually bothering, so we'll just get rid of it for now. You will be without an inside muzzle, but that's okay, because you're never going to see it. So we're just going to make this, move this up, move it kind of out, out. All right. Is that a loop there, maybe? Okay, and then let's extrude again. Ooh, not great. Don't really like that it's doing that. That's okay. And we will do that. Make it go inward. Go back to vertex. Ah, that's clipping. That's okay. We'll just fix it. Not an issue. Okay. That seems like it's pretty alright. We can move it inward a little more, and then face. I mean, F for fill, sorry. And then we can knife tool it to the bottom of the thing. Can we? Yes, we can. Is that the exact amount? Not really, which isn't great. We can still do it. Kind of weird. Maybe we shouldn't. I think it's actually fine like this. I know it looks really funky and weird, and you're probably saying it looks funky and weird, but as long as it works, which it does, it is fine. I just don't want you adding too many loops and it looking really weird. That would be very bad. And I don't want that. We could just add one singular knife tool, so that way we can make it go further back into the head, which would be fine. And look at that! That's a head. Steven now has a head. Ooh, that's pretty baller. It's pretty cool. Pretty baller, pretty cool. Good job, you guys. We only did that in 30 minutes. Now I am going to drink. Take a little drink. Because I'm fucking thirsty. All right. Whew. Now, this is pretty easy. We're getting on to the easier part. The body. Low poly-ish body, I suppose. So we're going to go into edit mode. We're going to go below Steven's head to the underside. Now we're going to do face, select these, delete the faces, select the, the edges, circle the loop tool. Again, right click, loop tool, circle. We've done it before. You know how to do it. And then we're going to try and move it a little. And now Steven has a neck. Can you believe it? We did it. We gave him a neck. Hooray! You should pat yourself on the back. You did it if you've gotten this far. And you have done it. Hopefully you have. I hope you have. I hope you've been following along. If you haven't, that's okay as well, but, So now we can easily make him a body that follows the reference. So now all you're going to do is a lot, and I mean a lot, of extruding. Extrude, again, if you don't know how to, also we should probably turn off mesh symmetry because we already have mirror on. If you forgot how to extrude, it's E and then S to scale. Oh, but it kind of looks weird. So we should do it from, oh, right. So we're going to extrude on the, I do it on the Z axis, so I press Z, and then extrude, scale. But you should probably do active element when you're doing that, so that way it doesn't look weird and it doesn't mess up. Here we go. Very simple, nothing crazy here. We're going to add that there. This is going to be important for a little... Oh. Steven, you look like you got a little bit of a hump back there, man. Oh, no. Oh, no, Steven. That's all right. We can fix it. We can fix this. We can fix him. We can make him better. Don't worry. Poor Steven. I had no idea. He has scoliosis. Oh, no. All right. Well, Steven's fixed. Kind of. He still kind of looks a little messed up. But we will fix him. He could probably deal with, he could probably use a little bit of smoothing. Not that much, but just a little bit. We should smooth Steven out a little. Poor guy. I didn't know he had scoliosis that bad. Also, if you want to edit things a little more precisely, you could go into sculpt mode. Sculpt mode is this one at the top, right there. Now, we're not going to actually sculpt anything. We're just going to use this elastic grab. We're going to increase the size a little, and we're just going to move them. But if it's too big, you gotta, move it down. Here we go. See, we want Steven to still be kind of a little fat cat, because he's cute. But we don't want him to look, all messed up, like what I did. I have no idea what I did wrong, but live and learn. Okay, there we go. He looks a little better. A lot better, I should say. I don't know why I'm saying a little better. Okay, that's better. Now we're going to do legs, which I find are the easiest thing. Get an edge, you select these, you fill them in, you add a couple loops, maybe like 3, maybe 4. Nah, 3's good enough. And then you're going to make his little legs, which go up a little. Again, it's mostly just editing. Going to change this back to median point. And we're going to make this go inward a little bit. Oh, it's not moving. Eee, what the hell? Hello? Hello? Oh, what the hell? I had the snap on. I didn't even notice. Snap will stop you from moving it, apparently. I didn't even notice I had it on. That's weird. I think not Gary's mom. What the fuck? I think Blender might be haunted, honestly. Just sometimes when it feels like it. When it feels like being kind of an obstacle in your way, I feel like it might just be a little. Now, you could loop cut it, but it does that. And we don't really want that. So we're just gonna edit it ourselves. Like cool dudes. Proportional editing. Yep. There we go. And now we just edge select. Again, if you want to edge select, you click, shift, and then double click. And then we're going to extrude it downward. Make sure it's straight. And then we're going to match it to what we have. Not exactly, just enough. There we go. And it looks kind of rough. But again, we're gonna edit that motherfucker. Hell yeah. Sorry if my video is kind of unprofessional. Smooth that a little. Smooth that a little. Smooth that a little. Yup. Alright. Oops. Kinda looks like he has a corset on. Maybe not smooth that. Alright. So, we now have legs. Now, they're a little, you know, weird looking, so we might need to smooth them. But also, he doesn't really have room for a little knee. So let's give him a little more room. I know there's like, you know, not a lot on the reference to follow. But let's say his knee is right about there. So let's make a loop right there. And let's go to the back. We're going to select these ones. Half of the leg where we put the loop cut. And we're going to Control B, bevel it, put a little thing right there so that way when we rig it, it will be able to, you know, kind of deform correctly. All right. So now we're going to make a foot really quickly. We're going to extrude this downward, and we are just going to, oops, let me make it a circle actually. We can do that now. And then I'm just going to fill it, just filling in the bottom. We don't really need to do much for that. Making the foot is actually the easiest part of, I'd say personally. All you need to do is extrude that kind of outward. The circle has made it look weird. Doesn't really need to be a circle. So we're going to take the front faces of this, extrude it outward, scaling it to where we need it to be scaled. There's this thing. Put a loop there. Put another maybe there. Bevel this. Grab some of these, lift them up, make sure they look nice enough. Put a loop here. We gotta make sure the feet are, you know, smoothed. Oh, not like that. Oof. We're just gonna make sure they're like where they're supposed to be. That's what I mean. In line with everything else. But they're not. Which isn't great. It's just because some of these are higher up in the foot than they should be. There's probably a better way to do this, but again, I am not the best. Move his model down a little. Here we go with the knife tool. Make these kind of go out a little. Raise these up. Maybe do some on the side because they kind of look a little flat. And hey, these look like feet. Not exactly what I drew. We could just make them bigger. Not a big deal. There we go. Oops. Let me just grab the top part of it, so that way the bottom doesn't get all caught up in it. Yeah! It's pretty good. Now, if you'd like those creases on his little, like, I don't know, the toes? Is that what they'd be? Whatever. You can bevel it, like so, and put a loop cut in the middle of these. And then you take those loop cuts and put them inward. Not with proportional editing on, because that would look weird. And then we mark them sharp. And now he's got those little thingy-majiggies. Pretty good, pretty good. And if you want to add anything specific to him, you can. No worries about it. If you want, well, now we gotta do arms. It's not if you wanna. We gotta give that boy arms. Now, I'd say they're kind of up here, so let's add that. A little loop cut, and then boop. Make it a circle, boop. Make it go out a little more, boop. Yeah, boy. And of course, you do the exact same stuff you've been doing the entire time, which is to say, extruding and scaling. Extruding and scaling and all of that stuff. Wonderful, wonderful. And now we get to a part that I'm not very good at, which is making hands. Now, this isn't an actual tutorial on how to make actual hands. I'm simply just going to make them the way I've always made them, which is to say I'm going to give him mitten hands because I'm not very good at making regular hands. So I'm just going to extrude and make him kind of have weird looking hands. You can also go to face and do grid fill if you very much want to, which is good because it will allow you to have, you know, a little more, I don't know, control on here is what I'd say. Kind of looks weird. So maybe I'll just do it myself. I think it's, you know, yeah, it is the same on both sides, so I'll just do it myself. Doink. 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 I know there's some triangles, but that's alright. It's not a big deal. Doink, 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 doink. There we go. Maybe it needs another loop, so I'll just make it with the knife tool. Okay, and then we need to make him a little thumb. Which is pretty easy, actually. Just extrude, scale it, extrude, put some loops, probably about 2. Yee. Freaky ass thumb. Maybe make it a little smaller. Go into sculpting. Use the smooth. Where is it? Smooth. Search smooth. And smooth it out a little. So that way it's not very strong. Holy. Yeah, that's better. We just don't want it to be too much. You want a tutorial on how to make actual hands? I will link it in the description because you should have a, an actual good tutorial made by somebody who is a professional. Mark sharp. Also, let's add some bevels here really quick. This should have a bevel, I believe. Yeah, it should. Bevel there. And then the arm would be outward like that. So the elbow would go below, about there, I think. Bevel that. Also, this should not have all that stuff on it, but, whatever. Let's get rid of these ones below. Clear sharp. There we go. All right, but he's missing his collar. He doesn't really need it, but I did draw it on the reference. Okay, so I will, oh, his head looks kind of weird. Ah, see, that looks bad. But that's why we have smoothing. A lot of topology here. We don't technically need all of those. We could get rid of some of these. Should not be hard. See, a lot of it's connecting to the nose. We don't need all of it. We could get rid of, like, a couple of dissolving the edges. Yep. Yep. Could get rid of this one. Aw, never mind. He looks sad. Put it back. And we could get rid of this. Oh, wait. It's not that bad. But put it back just in case. Nah. Okay. Yeah, it's fine the way it is. Maybe we should give him a little bit of teeth. I'll just make him with a cone, but the cone's very high poly, so I'll make it very low poly. Like about 14 edges, maybe. And we'll rotate it again. 90, scale it down. We'll put it where it belongs. Right in his little kitty mouth. But we gotta scale it down more. It's very big. And then we're going to go to object mode, and this isn't going to mirror correctly. So we got to do Control A, all transforms, and then we can add our little mirror to our kitty cat, who now has teeth. Now, the collar could just be made out of a torus, but that would be kind of weird. Could just make him out of a cylinder, a lower poly cylinder, maybe about 14, like before. Make it smaller, scale that down. Again, doesn't need to be anything crazy. We could get rid of the inside of it, both of these, and all we would need to do is just shade it smooth, go to add modifier, and solidify. Solidify. Oops, why did I spell it like that? Solidify. Now it's kind of like, you know, it's got a little edge to it, but not too much. Just remember, if you put on some of these modifiers, don't apply them. If it's solidify and subdivision, you shouldn't apply them. And now we'll make it another cylinder. Make his little coin out of another cylinder. Place it on the y-axis, right about there. Since we're going to rig it, I guess we should just leave it straight on. There we go. Shade smooth. But we should add some sharps, so that way it looks better. And there we go. Our little guy, Steven, is now complete. And that only took, what, like an hour? It's pretty good. Not bad at all. Now save Steven. Again, you should save a lot more than I have. I've been forgetting to. So, I guess that's the end for this tutorial of just learning the basics of how to model and all that stuff. You could also give him a little, like, shoddy looking tail if you wanted to. But you don't have to. I would probably, if I was going to make up a tail, I'd add another cube, and I would just make it. But I'm not going to give him a tail. He just doesn't have one. So that's the first part of the tutorial for Steven. In the next part, we will unwrap him and maybe work on his topology a little more, because he does look a little rough around the edges, but it is kind of a lowish poly model. We're not really going for Picasso levels of work here. And then the final one, we will be rigging him and giving him shape keys. But yeah, that's the end of part 1 of my video series on modeling in Blender. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like if you did. Leave a comment if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer them. Bye-bye.